Hi, I'm Smokey Solis. Welcome to this special edition of Pete's Corner, as we look at the residents of Oklahoma. Each resident has a special story, and this week, we're going to feature a few of them and see just what makes them so special. Our first story is about a longtime Oklahoma resident who has a penchant for crafts. Joe Tomko has more.
Oklahoma has many artists in all mediums, including things like beadworking, sewing, and crocheting. These are the types of crafts that Sandy Springer enjoys making and sharing with people. Sandy has been making crafts for decades and is still going to shows multiple times a month to sell her wares.
One lady came up and she wanted to buy some of my scarves, but she didn't want to buy them at the show because she wanted to take her time and go through every one, and I have a lot of them. She wound up buying 35 scarves.
Sandy isn't alone in selling her crafts. She'll usually have helpers. Sandy's daughter Tiffany has been to many craft shows with her to help set up and manage sales. She says Sandy is working on crafts more now than ever before.
It seems like every time I see her, she's got everything with her, so that if she's got a moment, she's making something.
Sandy's love of craft making is almost as great as her love for Oklahoma. She's traveled all over the country and even lived in other states, but always came back to the place she considers home.
She didn't like the cold. She didn't like Louisiana because it was too hot. And she even mentioned the other day that she would never leave Oklahoma because she loves it here.
Sandy says Oklahoma is friendlier than anywhere else she's been.
I have lived on the East Coast where you have to really work at making relationships because no one trusts anybody. And here, most people trust each other.
It's this trust and sense of community that keeps bringing Sandy to craft shows, where she can sell her own crafts, discover what others are making, and build new relationships with her fellow Oklahomans. For Pete's Corner, I'm Joe Tomko.
Thanks, Joe. Don't forget to support your local craft makers. You'd be surprised what you can find at a local craft show. Everybody goes through challenges. Some might just be a little more difficult than others. Connor August has more.
It's the last semester of Logan Champlin's senior year in high school. All he can think about is graduating and enjoying the summer with his friends before starting his freshman year at Oklahoma State in the fall. Then, an unfortunate event happened. Logan was in the back seat of his friend's car as they raced through the back roads of Ponca City in March of 2015. They were having a good time until Logan's friend lost control of the car and crashed. The car was absolutely totaled, and as Logan explains, the car was not the only thing that took major damage.
After the wreck, I was in a neck brace for about 8 months. I stayed in the hospital for a week initially, and after I went home, I moved the hospital bed into my house and stayed in bed for another probably month before I kind of got up on my feet, walking around.
It was a frustrating time for Logan after the accident because he couldn't be active and lost most of his strength. Over time, though, he got back to full health and was able to work out and play sports again. However, some things weren't as easy to heal.
Yeah, I was always pretty timid to be like a passenger in a car again. I couldn't drive myself because I was in a neck brace for it, but being a passenger always made me nervous. Just all the little stops and bumps and everything kind of scared me.
Thankfully, Logan overcame his fear of driving over time and was able to get back behind the wheel. However, an important lesson everyone can learn from this is to always buckle up and drive safe. Logan is now a senior at Oklahoma State and says he has no lasting effects from the accident. However, he did have words of advice for other drivers.
We were just being young and dumb, I guess, going too fast in a car. Definitely, it's not a smart idea, no matter how fun you think it is or how cool you think it is.
Logan's story shows how perseverance can get you through even the hardest of times, but always remember to drive safe. For Pete's Corner, I'm Connor August.
What an incredible story about someone who overcame such an awful accident. Thanks so much for that, Connor. The Stillwater community is a hungry and helpful place. The local residents are doing something to change that. Jacob Eischen has more.
With only 2 full-time employees, Our Daily Bread Food Bank is making a huge impact on the Stillwater community. Executive Director Becky Taylor has been a pivotal part of all of the operations.
I lead the organization, work with the board to make decisions, make strategic plans, write grants, fundraise, work with volunteers, kind of all elements of Our Daily Bread I have my hands in.
Our Daily Bread was the consolidation of 3 church food banks. In 2016, the idea became a reality when Our Daily Bread was granted 501c3 status, making it a nonprofit organization. The next year, the food bank focused their efforts on raising funds for building and operational expenses, which totaled around $1.5 million.
Don't get federal assistance or anything like that. It's all locally funded.
The new building was officially opened in September of 2017. I'm here at Our Daily Bread, where they coordinate over 550 volunteers, and they accept all kinds of items, including pastas, canned goods, and even perishables. Hungry locals are more than welcome to come and shop through their shopping center. Based on the numbers the 3 churches had given them, the bank was anticipating to serve around 600 households. Instead, they're now serving approximately 1,000 households or 2,500 people.
At the beginning of the month, it's not as busy. Towards the end of the month, last Wednesday, we served 103 households.
With over 550 volunteers, the food bank is faced with a heavy task of coordinating all of these volunteers.
Days we have 5 volunteers and we have 50 guests, and it's just going to be a hard day. And then other days we have 50 volunteers and 100 guests, so it works out well. But we need lots and lots of volunteers, and I work with lots and lots of volunteers.
For Pete's Corner, I'm Jacob Eischen.
I'm glad the Stillwater community is doing something about the hunger issue. Thanks for that, Jacob. When we come back, we have a special interview for you in store.
I want to show you something. This is the money we could save by switching from fresh packed California crushed tomatoes to concentrated tomato paste.
I want to show you something too. I got a new door. Go take a look at it.
Nobody uses better ingredients than Little Caesars, like fresh packed California crushed tomatoes. Pick up a large, deep dish for just $8.
Pizza, pizza.
Introducing Lincoln Black Label at Diffie Ford Lincoln. Designed to impress those with impeccable taste, Lincoln Black Label features a collection of interior themes and a host of exclusive membership privileges, inspired by attention to detail and a love of automobiles. With Lincoln Black Label, you'll enjoy an extended premium maintenance plan that covers wear items or even remote vehicle delivery. Lincoln Black Label isn't about luxury ownership, it's about membership. Lincoln Black Label, exclusively at Diffie Ford Lincoln.
At ASAP Energy, our goal is to provide the best customer service for whatever our clients need.
My relationship with ASAP Energy came about in 2007. I was wanting to build a convenience store. I didn't know how to do it. I'd never been in the business. I just felt comfortable with Rick. And so I knew that I wanted to do business with a guy like that. Integrity, loyalty, and family. I would recommend that to anybody. Thanks for taking a chance on me.
At ASAP Energy, everything matters.
Where were you born? It's a question asked all the time. Because where you're from shapes who you are, inspires how you do things. And when that inspiration comes from a place this refreshing, this majestic, this... well, you get the idea. Coors Light, born in the Rockies.
deli department at Homeland is Oklahoma's headquarters for party trays. Enjoy the time with family and friends at your next event, and let your neighborhood Homeland create the perfect fruit, deli, or cheese tray for you. The party planners at Homeland will help you choose the perfect party food, sized just right for your guests. Call us, stop in, or order online, and we'll make it ready for pickup on your schedule. Make your next party special with a party tray from your neighborhood Homeland.
Good to be home, Homeland.
Love these things. Hilarious.
I'm sorry. Force of habit.
As long as you are you, it's Miller time.
Hi, it's Sam at Louis Grill and Bar, here to introduce our new menu items from south of the border. Come try our new poblano chicken tacos, or the ever-popular sriracha shrimp tacos. At Louis, where you come for the food, but stay for the fun.
It's hard to imagine my life before her, or a day without her. So much of what I take for granted simply wouldn't exist. She is the force that holds our life together. She is my everything, the center of my universe, from Forevermark. The diamond, the promise. Available at Lewis Jewelers.
I'm Randy Heights with 1077 The Franchise, and let me tell you about the HCG diet from New Leaf Wellness and what it's meant to me. Over the last year, I've dropped 90 pounds, and this has been a lifesaver, guys. I'm in a wheelchair, so I can't always get to the gym, and what's been incredible about this diet, when I can't work out, I still lose the weight. 90 pounds in a year is a lot for anyone, but for me, it's been a miracle. Why don't you give New Leaf Wellness Centers a call and see if they can't help you with a free consultation, or go online at newleafcenters.com.
Welcome back to Pete's Corner. I'm Kennedy Birch, and today we have a special guest who has an incredible experience from South Korea. Hi, Juan. Thanks for sitting on with us today.
Thank you very much.
So you've had an experience that most college students don't have. You
Yes.
were in the South Korean Army.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
The biggest difference between U.S. Army and South Korean Army, we have a mandatory service, which all Korean males have to finish their military service before 30 years age. If not, you're going to go to jail instead. Yeah.
And did you have any challenges that you had to overcome?
Oh yeah, I got lots of challenges from boot camp. I had to start shooting. I don't know how to shooting, but we're there, start training really hard. I was shaking my hands, bleeding my knees, everything's happened. And after that, they just sent me to the near DMZ security battalion. They have a special mission, but yeah, that's really a challenge for me. We don't have any weekends and holidays. We have to secure whole DMZ 24/7, and I work as many different roles, and they give us lots of missions, obviously, and sometimes I dispatched as a translator for UN forces when they come into the DMZ to inspect the Korean Armistice Agreement, which has been a 50 years rules after Korean War has ended. So I got lots of things to do, and one thing that was the biggest challenge for me was there was kind of really bad day and rained so hard, and we have to remove these bushes from the small water holes, and sometimes we got lots of plastic mines that made by plastic, and they just floating around during the rainy days. And one day, one of my company colleagues stepped on the mine, and he lost his leg.
Oh my gosh.
And that was his 21 years old. And yeah, I was sent to help the officers at the time, and we watched everything on the scene and the live. Yeah, that was biggest mental challenge for me to overcome it.
And how did that impact your life?
Yeah, I've been through many of it. accident, I would say the accident and some missions. Obviously, I don't think that's gonna happen, that's gonna fulfill later. But I think that somehow helps me in my career as a student, because I have to organize everything. So I learned about managing whole deadlines and a little bit mentally prepared. And what else? I just want to focusing on myself. So that's made me like that.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing your story. Really
No
appreciate
problem.
it. Now let's go ahead and take it back to Smokey.
For many parents, raising just one child is a challenge. But just imagine raising 5 adopted kids. Riley Zerby has more.
For many families who live here in Oklahoma, having 5 adopted kids is not a priority to have. In 2011, Rob and Kate Zerby offered Daniel, Desiree, Christian, Christy, and Michael to be a part of their family. Rob and Kate explained to us how they start a regular day.
The kids need to get up by around 6 o'clock so we can leave a little after 7 for school. And so I try to get up before the kids get up. That way I can be available to help them when they're getting up and getting ready for school. I usually start packing their lunches before they get up, or I may have them already finished.
I get up a little bit later, and then I get up and get dressed, and then I go in and wake the kids up and get them headed towards their clothes, and I help direct them getting their clothes on and getting dressed and help tie shoes where I need to. And so that's typically most days of the school week.
Well, I can say one thing. These kids can be experts at driving their parents crazy when getting ready for the day, but they're also experts at bringing them joy.
The 2 smallest ones, they're still at that age and size that they love to climb up in my lap and just be held, and it's still important for them to make that connection. So that's a big joy. And with the older ones, just seeing them grow, seeing them develop.
Joy not only comes to the Zerbys, but it also comes to the kids. One of the 5, Christian Zerby, talks about what his parents let him do that makes him happy.
They let us play our Kindle, and we clean up without asking, and we play outside, and I ride my bike.
As these kids grow up and unravel new chapters of their parents' lives, Rob and Kate will have a lifelong experience that many families won't have. For Pete's Corner, this is Riley Zerby.
Thanks, Riley, for sharing with us how adopting 5 children can be very challenging, but also very fulfilling. When it comes to fighting battles, all of us react differently. For this OSU student, he chose to turn to someone he loved more than anything. Anissa Mapp has more.
Seth Durham is a junior biosystems engineering major at Oklahoma State University. Seth is involved in on-campus ministries, namely SO, an evangelism group that meets twice a week on campus and evangelizes to people in the Union. He says he likes showing people not only that he loves Christ, but that Christ loves them as well.
My favorite part about SO is showing people the love of Christ. Just being able to speak truth and life into them, no matter where they're at, no matter what they believe.
But his love for Christ is also shown in the way he treats his friends.
Seth is a person that I would call whenever I'm going through a struggle. That would speak truth to me, but he also say it caringly. He would probably like, Cole, you're wrong, but this is why. And I tell you because I love you. He doesn't have to say I love you to know that he loves you.
Seth's faith has always been strong, but it would become even stronger when he found out he would be facing the fight of his life.
In spring of 2015, Seth was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, a cancer in the bone marrow that results in a high white blood cell count. He found out after getting sick from a camping trip.
Just ended up going to the ER, and then a doctor came and he was like, you have leukemia.
Seth can credit his ability to stay strong when facing a trial to his faith and his trust in God, and this does not apply to only cancer. He says whenever he's going through a trial, he feels like God teaches him something.
He kind of takes me aside and he's like, this is going to be a time for you to either burn or learn.
Seth's story shows how faith can be made stronger through even the scariest of times. For Pete's Corner, I'm Anissa Mapp.
Thanks, Anissa. Seth's story truly shows how we can stay strong in the scariest of moments. Thanks for joining us for this special edition of Pete's Corner. I'm Smokey Solis, and we'll see you next week.